Learning a lot. Thanks for this. And then one thing that has stood out from Rose's comment is flexibility. Wahige is saying great talk. And then I think a question diverted to you, Jonas, is saying that how can creatives in other industries, e.g., affordable housing and the blue economy, evolve during this season, especially if under lockdown most have struggled, closed, or just given up. So we're going to go into this maybe in the next thematic area. Just want to go into it. And then there's Simon who's saying, great talk. I wish to engage Waidera Kabiru. On what, Sai? Waidera umelipa mtu? Waidera, can you hear me? I think you're just having a lag. But maybe let me just get to you, Rose. Can you hear us now?
Yes, yes.
All right. In terms of financing, because you've been running your business through this particular period, and you'd mentioned earlier on when COVID came, your business model was completely put down because you're literally depending on the master classes and having persons to teach and train to make your income. How did you go after that? Because your ad revenue has been stuck. How did you keep afloat, and how have you managed to reconfigure the business up to where you are right now?
Now, the one thing that you need to, number one, it was hard. Like this thing when running a company, it is hard, especially when you have employees and things that you need to do. And then the one thing that you need to understand about Makeup by Rose, we've never worked with loans. We work that like what we have is what we use that to bring the products and everything. So it's a little bit hard. I was really tempted to get a loan to do everything, but I went back and I remember I had a meeting with myself. I sat down with my husband because we discussed these things and then we were like, what are we going to do? Like, I remember the products were stuck in Canada for a long time. And then the other thing is, when you see days going, it's 15th, it's 20th, you're like, oh crap, how am I going to pay my employees and at the same time keep the business running? So I had to, number one, cut down on some things, especially like some expenditure that was unnecessary. I had to cut down, and then we had to really look at our finances. And then we went cashless, kabisa cashless, because it's tricky when you're working with so many people, and then you're getting cash every other time. So number one, going cashless was a way of me tracking my finances. So I had to go through a PDQ machine or straight to the bank. That's what I did. And then again, keeping everyone safe, not handling money. And then also, what I can say, look at your finances as an entrepreneur. Like, is there anything that you're spending on that is unnecessary or that you don't need to? Figure out another way around it, to cut down on the money, even if it's 50 bob. 50 bob for a business goes a long way. Like, I know this because, like, remember, Dennis, I used to sell popcorn, and my popcorn, I used to sell it for like 5 shillings and 10 shillings. Let me tell you, your pesa inashikanaga inakuwa mob mse, kidogo kidogo, like cut down on the 10 shillings, 50 shillings, 1,000 here and there. And then also look for other ways to make money. For example, like as someone in the beauty industry, there's there's so many things that I can do. I'm a makeup artist, number one. I can sell products. Number two, I can do consultations. Now, for me, the challenge comes where I don't get as many clients coming in for training as before. So how do I make money from training and try and catch up from the way things were before COVID? So I started online training. We train clients from all over the world, clients from Romania, clients from Sierra Leone, from Congo, and it's good money. You just have to figure out a way. It is hard at first, but you have to find a way of adjusting and just once you accept the situation, everything will work out just fine.
Interesting. Thanks so much, Rose. In it. Whether I don't know if you can
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Interesting. Rose was here complaining around in terms of the business model being, what's it called? Not complaining, but just saying, giving the reality in terms on the ground, how business had been changed. But EABL on the other end, I know during this particular pandemic, you guys have been very active in terms of spend. We've seen a lot of social media influencers, including part of the panelist here, Sauti Soul, just, what's it called? Promote several of your products. How exactly was it in terms of spend during this particular period? Because most of the corporates seemed to have held back in terms of your marketing budget, but EABL went on a romp in terms of just you were everywhere.
Well, one of the principles of marketing is for a brand, you need to keep your top of mind awareness. We call it salience, constant, regardless of what's happening, be it a pandemic like we've seen. So the marketing advice is never to stop spending, never to stop awareness of your brands. you could dial it down, and we did dial it down, and maintain it. So even on a in a normal year, you will see we spend throughout the year, but we have peaks. So that's the advice I would give any brand, even if you're a personal brand. We have peaks. We have seasonality. During the festive season, we'll spend more. So the principle is you spend more when the demand is higher, right? So you can have that share of voice. So our principle is there's something called excess share of voice, where we need to ensure not our share of voice is high, but we look at our share of market as well. And that's what guides us. So yes, the overall marketing spend did reduce from a business perspective. Our marketing budget is based on our sales. So you can't, it's a percentage of your sales. You cannot, spend more than you're selling. That's just prudent. But we made sure that at least for our key brands, we were still, aware. We're still there. Our consumers can see us, so that when it comes to the point of purchase, that awareness is there and they can choose us. So that's your little marketing 101 and why we did that.
That's a class. It's a master class. Savannah, let me get to you in terms of just looking at it in terms of retrospect as an artist, as a creative, and how exactly you faced through this particular period. Looking back in retrospect, what did you think you did right? What do you think you did wrong in what's it called in this particular season that you're in?
What do I think I did right and what did I? Oh man, wow.
Because
Uh,
Waithera gave us a master class just right now in marketing.
I
You do not
know, I know. Like I was writing, you saw me like having my pen.
lecturer Waithera, I'm going to baptize you that from the diva, from the digital diva.
Hey, ni mnoma sana. Yeah. What did we do right? I think we were ready with the music. What did we do right? We tried as much as possible and maintained a sober and good mental state, because that was really key in, especially because during the pandemic, it has affected people psychologically like crazy. Apart from financially, psychologically, kuna watu imepeleka chini sana. So that was what we did right. We in with William, with the help of William and our team, we tried as much as possible and had sessions with our team members. We looked deep into each other's lives. We tried to maintain a good state of mind so that it can be easy to make decisions and to understand, like, whoa, it's a pandemic, yes, but it's a state of affairs and we have to shift. We did that right, and I'm thankful to William and the team. What else did we do right? I think the shifting and the flexibility
Mhm.
is what we also did right during this time. We've been working with Akina Waidera already. Is looking at the influencer kind of marketing, looking at ways in which we just expanded our business. And now that we are not traveling, what did we do right? We launched Pay Soul, one of our products. We've dived into a lot of product which will be coming out soon. Tutakuwa mnaambiwa very soon in the kind of product the Soul Generation is coming out with. But Pay Soul is one of them. There's something like Soul Kitchen, a brand that I launched on music production and everything. So those are things that we did right. What we didn't do right, we just didn't do more of those. you know, tulifanya tu kiasi. Ndio, kuna ile unaweza chew. People say that there's only much you can chew. But Rose amesema, look at other ways of making money, diversification of brands and everything. So there's more we can do. Nikiangalia Soul Generation, nikiangalia someone like Ben Soul, nikiangalia Mviri, nikiangalia Sauti Soul ourselves, nikiangalia the kind of things that we can do is just a matter of actualizing. Zimekuwa plans ziko kwa paper sana. So what we haven't done actually is using our platforms, using our numbers in the best way possible. Like Rose, I mean, challenge sana anasema, ukienda online manze unasema shoe game, unasema nini game, what game. This is very true, man. I'm looking at my artists right now. Kama ni kuuza shoe game na kufanya nini, mbona usiuze hizo viatu? Unajua? So I'm also challenged, like we just haven't done enough. So there's a lot. There's a lot, and I feel with the internet being a global village, vitu ziko wide. As in, I'm coming out of this conversation with a wide mind. Asante sana. So we just haven't done enough. Yeah.
Interesting. Jonas, let me come to you. You deal with a lot. Your accelerator is based here in Kenya, but I know you're also engaged in Norway, and I know you're also having a lot of interest in West Africa and just globally, literally. In your particular perspective, in terms of how exactly the spend is on the creative industry, I don't know what's your particular analysis as to how the creative economy is going to manifest going forward after this particular pandemic. Do you think there's going to be a lot of spend in the creatives from the different investors? Is there going to be a close? And what's your analysis?
My God, I think there's so many opportunities for young creatives. Specifically, if you look at the YouTube, gig economy, or if you're an influencer, how you can kind of, if you already have a community, how can you, build new revenue streams, or diversify how you get money, right? As was mentioned earlier. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, because the way we build relationship and the way we retain relationships are different today. Um, I think for also what's really cool is how this new social media platform keeps popping up. Like TikTok really, like during COVID, it really like fling. And the fact that if you want to be like, if you're starting off as a creative and you want to get like 1,000 followers, you can start on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn and all of that. But if you start in TikTok, you're probably going to get 1,000 followers much faster than anywhere else. So then you can try to to build a brand or to build a presence in the new platform, right? So somebody might have already dominated Instagram and whatnot, but then suddenly a new platform comes. The race is starting off from zero, right? So if you are young, opportunistic, and hungry, I think the creative industry is huge. Also, they speak a lot about AI and like how like what do you call it, automation will kind of take away a lot of job. It's never been discussed in the sector of in the creative industry. That's one industry where people know for sure that software or computers will not be replacing any jobs, and they're looking globally at like how do you push the creative industry more, how do you get more creative thinking into education, and how do we stimulate more of our creative brains rather than trying to convert them into this math calculator computer brains. So I think it's a lot of opportunity, but again, my message is the same. If you sit on your ass, nothing's going to happen. But if you're opportunistic, you're hungry, you're looking at what's out there, and most important, that you are resourceful. You're smart. Like you don't go around and waste either your time or your resources. You're resource smart and you're clever about, this is where I want to focus. So lastly, I probably want to say, don't be afraid of failing. Many people hold back because, oh, maybe this happened or maybe that happened. Unfortunately, we as society, we're a little bit fear driven, but to be able to be a little bit bold and be like, what, bet on yourself. And as long as you're learning things, you're kind of investing in yourself. So you know risk is not bad.
Interesting. Um, Nanjara, you'd mentioned about data, and I know you from your corporate experience, you've been dealing with data, but it's quite interesting in how exactly you're indulging data in the creative economy. Because you told me you're managing your artist. I remember from one of our past conversation, you told me the decision even on how much you're going to price your artist for events, it's based on the data that you have. Maybe you can just take me through some of the insights you've managed to gather over a period in terms of some of the changing trends in terms of data. What have you noticed before the pandemic and post the pandemic? What's the data showing?
All right, great. I think first of all, data is one of those interesting things where it's governed by buzzwords like AI, machine learning, and some fancy things. And
Everything, automation, everything.
exactly,
When you
exactly.
mention data, I can throw in everything, and it
There you
still
go.
makes sense.
There you go. And I just want to start with a word of advice for entrepreneurs before I answer your question, Ian. I always say when you hear the word data, don't overthink it. Don't think about an AI model, robotics, a system that will tell you Ben Sol needs to wake up at 7:30 in the morning. Another system that will tell you you can make $1 million from Waithera if you do this, this, and that. No, no, no. Data is as simple as introspecting at your business because already if you have a business that you've put out there, you figured out a problem statement that you're solving for someone. So taking that problem statement, unpacking it, and seeing how responsive the person you're solving the problem for is reacting to that problem statement. And for us, pre-pandemic, the realization was, what markets were we popping in? So where was Savara being booked? If Savara in Eastern Europe, there's a high trend for him there. If the numbers are high there, then we focused on that market. If in North America, Savara and Sauti Sol, there's a lot of love for them there, then we focused a lot of our energies in that market. And that's how we managed to be deliberate about getting Bensol and Viri in their first international tours. They did Dubai, they did Uganda, and they were set to do Australia. Then the next one is so that was pre-pandemic. Looking at digital tools, this is still pre-pandemic. Looking at your YouTube numbers, what sort of songs are people listening to? How are they reacting to? What messages are they listening to? If, for example, Savara, Sauti Sol, Nviri, and Bensol have a certain style and they are styled in a certain way, how are people reacting to it? Are they saying that they're setting trends in industry? Are they saying that they're dressing in a certain kind of way? And that sort of thing. And also just the basics. What messages are we getting? When someone inboxes you, that's data, man. Are they saying, squeezing him naringa? Muziki yenu, we want the Surayako kind of sound. And that sort of messaging. But post-pandemic, it was a bit different. And it just adds on to what Savara is saying, in that looking at any of the content that we're putting out there. So I'll give an example of Nairobi, which is a song that Bensol did, and Kitenge, which is an EP that Nviri did. So Bensol's Nairobi song was very driven. And why we released Nairobi is because it was a pilot song that we wanted to test on something that's really important to us. Ian, we've discussed this before. One of our key goals is we want to create a Kenyan identity and export it globally. And why we want to do this is because when you speak to colleagues out there, when you ask them, what is a South African sound? Suddenly, yeah, they start popping. I'm a piano, dance.
I'm a piano.
Yeah, you start hearing those things. Tanzania, what is the Tanzanian sound? You start hearing bongo, top of mind, as Waidera is saying, top of mind awareness. When you hear Nigeria, African, Afropop, sorry. Kenyan, if you ask someone, what is the Kenyan sound?
Genge, Kapuka, everything. Benga, everything.
Yeah. And it's really critical for us, and it's a key goal for us to create a Kenyan identity and export it to the world. So Nairobi was part of a project under the genre we call the Safari series, and Nairobi falls under Safari Rumba. Rumba Japan is also under Safari Rumba. Extravaganza is also under Safari Rumba. And when we looked at what happened with Nairobi, there was relatability, there was talkability, there was singability, and the messaging was real. But still, Nairobi did really well globally. And how were we able to see that? By the numbers on Spotify, the numbers on Apple Music, the analytics, the analytical tools on YouTube. And Ian, all these tools I'm mentioning to you are all basic tools that are accessible to creatives. You can open your backend on YouTube, you can open your backend on Spotify, you can open your backend on Apple Music and look at the current trends. So I would say, Ian, and then also with Kitenge. Kitenge then, for us, we realized that Kitenge would not be an EP that would release for us to get high human interaction. So it was a strategic EP that we focused on streaming. And Kitenge dominated the streaming numbers in East Africa. And it was a variation from Nviri, who's known as a club person. And now, yes, building a product from a musician who's known for a certain aesthetic and putting him on a different aesthetic that speaks to a specific channel, specific digital tools, and then monitoring that, and then taking our marketing spend and pushing it towards that really helped us be deliberate about it. And in the future moving forward, we are going to continue with that model.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why did I let me come to you? Because one of the interesting thing that's one of the interesting trends post the pandemic is in terms of influencer marketing. All of a sudden, everybody became an influencer. Everybody, so long as you just have the numbers, everybody becomes an influencer. Just take me through, because one of the interesting engagement with EABL is in terms of engaging with different influencers to push the brands that you have on board. What exactly is the thought process before you decide this is the influence I'm going to work with, this is how exactly I'm going to go about it? What's the decision making process like?
Okay. So first of all, yes, everybody's an influencer. I actually, but nobody in the farm is the same animal farm. Um, so for us, we look at influencers or content creators to help a brand do or achieve something that the brand cannot do on its own. Okay. So by the time we're looking at influencer, um, which influencers do we take up? Is it something that the influencer can do that the brand cannot do? If the brand can do it, the brand will do it on its own. Yeah, so things like driving up liquid credentials, Guinness is very good at doing that, and it can do it on its own. But perhaps talking about EPL or football, Cal Radu can probably do it way better than the brand can. So that's the first lens we look at. And then secondly, obviously, we do review and sort of do like a brand fit review. Does this influencer resonate? Are they relevant? How do they fit with the brand? And all brands are different, right? Because they have to be authentically paired with the right brand. And that's why you see we have very stringent influencer guidelines. We ask for disclosure. So if you are working with the brands, we do ensure that you disclose. We think it's the right thing to do. I know it's the right thing to do. But at the same time, with disclosure, then we open it up to influencers to be as creative. We don't feed them what to to do. We give them that creative license within our Diageo marketing code guidelines, because we still need to market responsibly. Alcohol is not a normal product. We need to make sure we are only talking to those under legal drinking age or legal purchasing age, which is 18 in Kenya. We need to make sure that our brands, as part of our code, are not associated with certain things. And we take them through this training. The more recent thing that I've been thinking about is even how do we work, because I take the influencers as our partners. How do we work with these partners on other values that EABL holds dear? And that's, for example, inclusion and diversity. How do we make sure that the content that influencers put out or work with us is actually progressive, or progressive from a gender perspective, from a inclusivity perspective, etc. So that's the next step we're going into, is in making sure that we're also working with these partners in that sense. Yeah, and happy to note, when we started last year, we launched Gordon's Pink Gin using influencers only. We had never done anything like that, because around the time Gordon's was launching, Diageo globally had a social media pause. We could not use social media just before the US elections, because we were not comfortable about the measures that the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram were taking around hate speech or fake news. And so globally, we had a pause. So we couldn't even use those platforms, but we worked with influencers and said, we have this new product, Gordon's Gin. There's a gin explosion going around the world. Again, back to Nigeria, talking about data and insights. How do we take those insights and act on it? So we innovated very quickly, came out with this product. Now, when it was ready, we're like, how are we going to launch this? And we're supposed to be silent online. But so we decided to work with our partners, with influencers. And they came in and created amazing, beautiful content, helped us launch the brand. We won the best digital campaign at the Marketing Society of Kenya. But not only that, the brand overperformed. Within the first 3 months, we had already hit our annual targets, like overperformed. And I take it to the fact that the influencers really understood the brief. We gave them the creative license. They knew what they needed to do and went and engaged with consumers, and that's what worked. Yeah.
Interesting. And Rose, on because we're just still engaging in terms of data and just social media, and one of the interesting quotes that you mentioned earlier on, you're always on social media to make money. Just take me through some of the strategies that you implement most so when you, what's it called, as a creative, when you go to social media, what exactly comes on top of mind? What are some of the strategies that you implement to ensure that you get the business right? You're on mute, Rose. You're on mute, Rose.
So
Rose, you're on mute.
sorry about that. So earlier,
Yes, now.
no. I'm not on mute. Hi, you can hear me now?
Go ahead, Rose. Yes, now
You
we
can
can hear
hear
you
me?
well.
Okay. Okay. So early in my career,
Yes, we can.
I realized I was wasting a lot of time on social media. Like I would, I half of my day, if not more, I was on Facebook, and then I was not making any money. So these days, what I do, and this is one thing that I teach my students, you number one, you have to be on both platforms because these days everyone is running to Instagram and staying away from Facebook. And when you ask people, and this is one thing that people need to understand, when you ask young people, why are you not on Facebook? They're like, Facebook iko na kila mtu. You know, I mean that it's even when you're selling your
No, Facebook
potatoes, ama yeah, Facebook iko na kila mtu, hata ma idlers. Let me tell you something. From someone who sold onions and tomatoes in Tindwa market, you need to be where everyone is. You will make more money on Facebook than you will ever make on Instagram. People need to understand. For creatives, do not ignore Facebook. Please do not ignore Facebook. So, like for me, every day I plan my day. I have so many notebooks every day from like I will say 30 minutes on Instagram, and this is what I'm posting. 1 hour on Facebook, I'm a 1 hour on Instagram, vice versa. And then I write exactly what I'm posting, and then I get out, go do other things. Sometimes I'll just browse, but even the browsing time, you need to like have a time. Is it 30 minutes? It's very weird because like when you go on Instagram, something is up with Instagram. Nasemanga Instagram iko na mashetani zake. Sometimes you might go, you are going to
Um, can you hear us, Rose? We lost you.
something, and then you end up a post here, a call there. And then you end up like three. So at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself something. How much money have you made today? So for me, social media is serious business. Every day I plan my time, like give it 5 or 6 hours. I divide it between Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm not very good with Twitter, but Facebook, Instagram, right on the money, And then once you do that, now get out, go do other things, and then follow up with your post. People that I had someone say they're getting likes and then maybe no money coming in. You need to do follow ups. For example, it's very most people do sponsored ads these days. You need organic marketing has more money than sponsored ads these days. For some reason, sponsored ads are not working as well as they used to before Corona. So organic marketing, everyone who comments, everyone who likes your post, follow them, go to their DMs, go to their inboxes, tell them, hi, we have this offer, hi, we have this. Even if they don't respond right now, at least they have that information. Remember, with social media, it is very tricky because there's so many people posting the same things. You need to be out there. Like for me, I'm everywhere. Every day I'm in your faces on Facebook because I need you to remember me tomorrow morning when you get up. When you think about makeup, I need you to think about me. So the one thing that people forget is there are so many people. It's like doctors, lawyers, so many people. And social media, people forget very fast. And you need to keep reminding them, I do this, I sell this. And especially young ladies. Let me say this. I know you've not asked me this, but let me say it because I might forget to say it up on belly.
Go
Young
ahead.
women, young women, and it's very easy for a young woman to be diverted, try find other ways of making money. Social media is gold. I'll keep saying this. Like on Facebook, I remember the first car that we bought it within 7 days. Seven
Mhm.
days. I was posting and posting organic marketing, following up, sponsored ads, but then following up. Dennis, I will follow you mpaka ununue lipstick. That's organic marketing. I have to be in your face for you to remember me. So when it comes to social media, please don't use it for your personal posts alone. Use it for business. Social media, Facebook, Instagram is a very powerful business tool that will change your life, will change your business. The one thing that you need to do and you need to remember, which is very important, plan your days. What you post needs to be relevant. Like as a makeup artist, as a musician, even music, whatever everyone is doing, you have to feel a need. You have to feel a void in someone's life. So, like for me, you see, makeup is luxury. Makeup see nyanya, makeup see boga. So I have to convince women you need this in your life. So that's my life every day. And you see, people relax. You need to be what do you call it? Every day push. Tomorrow work harder than you worked today. And that's the one thing that you see people giving up very fast, especially young people. Stop giving up very fast. If today it didn't work out, make it work out tomorrow.
Interesting, quite interesting insights. Savara, let me just come to you because what's it called? Maybe as we still tackle this particular aspect of data in the creative economy, there's an interesting what's it called? Conversation that BN was a part of, and he mentioned something very interesting because we have understood streaming more so in terms of music is the future in terms of monetization and revenue. And he mentioned interesting strategy in terms even the music that you create, like you have to create music whereby guys spending more time so that they can listen much more and make much more revenue. Just take me through some of the thought process in terms of creating music so that you guys can attract enough crowd and what's it called, insights from data for you to monetize it, because I think we have moved to a world whereby every particular product that you're working towards, it's no longer just haphazard. I think things have changed from the back in the days, whereby right now you're creating music to make money within specific platforms. Just take me through some of the strategy that Sauti Soul has in terms of this particular.
Oh, in terms of that, wow, first of all, man, ish, Rose, when I'm deadly, man, say, hey, you're so profound. Hey, unani challenge vizuri paka, I'm just like, yes, this is who I needed to speak to or to listen to. Yeah, man, you're deadly, son. I appreciate you. What are the strategies we put across? Ama ni tumeweka ni audience retention is important. Now, as the social media money continues to grow, and we feel like sometimes it's become it's an advert or something. A song has become an advert.
Mhm.
So we've looked into the streaming world, man. We've looked into a situation where you cannot do a song 8 minutes long. You know, songs are moving from 3 minutes 30 seconds to 2 minutes 45 seconds,
Is that
2 minutes.
informed by data? Because I can hear guys
Yes.
or angle about 20 minutes.
What angalia numbers, nasema numbers. We're looking at global hits. Ohangla
Mhm.
Hongla bado hajafika global hit, ni vile si hatujaipeleka huko, which is a plan that we have, it's in the pipeline, unajua tutadeal na Ohangla vizuri, but ukiangalia global hits, ukiangalia streaming, tunaangalia it's a numbers game, brother. So streaming, you want your song to be played the most times. If you want your song to be played the most times, lazima pia uattack na strategy ya some songs have to be like 2 minutes 30 seconds. Even 2 minutes songs are going to we're going to a situation where I hear some songs are like even 2 exact minutes, because audience retention, squeezy kila mtu anaangalia, everybody looks on Instagram like this, it's swipe, it's swipe, it's swipe. Rose has said you have to be on people's faces. Yeah, we have to be on people's ears. So tumeangalia na strategy. There are some songs which we know they are storytelling. We are writing songs that are rumba, which will be 6 minutes, but we have a way in which we know we will retain the audience. But there's some songs which are like pop, serious pop songs that you just need quick audience retention on a jua. They won't stay there for long. You do a shorter song. So those are some of the ideas that we've pushed, where we've used. Also, like is our online presence in terms of the likes of pushing our music in terms of Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer. We are constantly communicating to our fans that, whoa, these are the platforms that we are on. The more you stream our music, the more you enjoy. So it's constant, consistent online marketing. We've employed that a lot in our strategy also. So I'm even so challenged by Rose, because now I'm supposed to push William. William, what product are we selling our fans, man? Any fan that's listening on this platform right here should be able to consistently see that rooster that's behind you, consistently be on people's faces, so that we can even sell that rooster as a badge, bro. So it is, we are employing that audience retention kind of thing, with our pay soul. We are consistently pushing online. So I just feel like in terms of music, we are employing everything, even our videos, brother. Look at the way we're doing our videos. Videos may change. We have been looking at our processes. It's a numbers game. Do we take so long to do a video? A video should be done within few days and the song should be out. Yeah? If it's a streaming game, it's a numbers game. How many songs can we do in a month? We've been trying to employ a strategy of like 40 songs from the whole label a month, right now. We've been doing some stuff. Right now, we are on 30 something songs within 2 months,
A
but
month.
we aren't a situation whereby we can even do 100 songs in 2 months. So it's a numbers games in vile unaifanya na how we market our product, how we put our, even Angalia, we're looking at Soul being, or Soul Generation being a global brand. What is being a global brand? Look at the Asian market. Angalia China, Angalia Wapi. So there's a lot of ways to expand and look at this spectrum. So mimi napenda vile this conversation is even budding ideas, and I'm going to actually apply a lot of things that Rose has said. Thank you,
I
Rose.
don't know. Thanks so much, Savara. Jonas, I just wanted to talk to you because I know you deal with a lot of within the Pangea Accelerator. You deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm sure some of them are from the creatives, but just generally entrepreneurs coming to look for opportunities for funding. Just take me through the thought process in terms of before investing or have accepting any particular entrepreneur within the accelerator program. What exactly are some of the elements of the business that you look at? Let's say someone in the creative industry comes into place. I remember you're mentioning to me about one of the platforms that you guys adopted onto the Pangea Accelerator. What's the thought process for any particular entrepreneur seeking to look for funding? What makes you say yes, Jonas? You're the money man.
People, number one. People. Yeah. Preferably that you're a strong team. Like that you can be a set of individuals that are working well together and have trust and all of that. That's number one. Second, that you're addressing a big market. You're solving a big problem. And here I think it's interesting because COVID has kind of created a bunch of new problems. So obviously, if you can solve those problems, then it's great. But it needs to be someone where it needs to be a relevant problem market. Because if there's no money there, then what's the point? Um, we usually look at like, do you have ambitions to scale and opportunities to scale, right? So like, if your dream is to like, I want to be best in Kenya, okay, it's cool. But if you want to be best in Africa, that's cooler. If you want to be, you know, dominate on international market, even better. So I think ambition is good. Obviously not cocky, but having ambition is we should all have ambitions, and then we also look a lot on like social like environmental impact. But in Africa, like if you create jobs, you're automatically creating social, like improving social aspects, but looking at sustainability is an important factor. And we look at these factors across sectors, so it's not like, oh, for the creative industry only, or it's the same if you're in agri space or in yeah. So people is number one, to be honest. Much more than the other ones. Yeah. You can even be like, even if you're like say you're a fantastic team of people, but you have a bad idea or bad business thing. It's no problem, man. We can replace that bad idea with a new one. We can find a new business thing. But if you have a great business idea but not good people, you will go nowhere. So
Everything is based on the people and the idea and the scalability. Oh, there I know you're supposed to rush for a physical event after this, but maybe I can just pose to you the last question before you drop off. And thanks so much for having spent time with us. Uh, just there's a lot of this. What's it called? There's so much change in the policies and some of the government regulations that have been put out. And one of the regulations that have been put out is the 1.5% digital tax on influences. Maybe I can get your thought on this, maybe as and your closing remark after.
I mean, I won't respond specifically to that one. We all know, it's just come out, and there's also the minimum business tax. I'm not a tax expert. I won't really comment on that. I think one of the key things in what we do is, EABL, we're 2,000 or 3,000 employees, but our supply chain, is up to 10,000 employees. And it's really important when we do whatever we do, how is it contributing to the supply chain, and how is it contributing to the macro environment? So I think we invest time to making sure that the regulator understands the impact we're having. If you look at a brand like Senator, that has actually delivered, massive amounts of tax back to the government, massive investment in the supply chain for farmers, for everybody involved. I think that gives us comfort that, what are we doing to help with the economy and everything. So I think my parting shot is, I like what Jonas has just said about people. If anything, people always come first. Even I think Rose alluded to it. She was very concerned about her employees. Jonas said people first. Even I think my mantra is, when I'm hiring, I hire for attitude, and aptitude is second, right? And without a positive, I think I'm a very optimistic and positive person. And in this pandemic, it's very important that, it's people first. Number one, we're taking care of the people who work with us, who work alongside, work for us. Mental health issues are very big. And so what are we doing? So that should come first before anything else. Before anything else, it should come first. We are privileged at ABL that most of us can work from home. And I say privileged because it is not the privilege for many. But even without working from home, I'll complain, oh, I've been on Zoom all day, I'm tired. But you know what? It's a privilege, but I need to be conscious of the fact that by the team I work with, what is their mental health status? Are they fine? And then they will deliver what they need to deliver. So I say it's always people first. Let's look at we're human beings, our relationships with each other. What does that look like? And the second parting shot is around, Nigeria talked about data. And from that data, what insights? Insights are the most powerful thing you can do as for your product, for your business, for your marketing. If you have the right insights and you've taken time to understand your consumer, the behavior, the shifts, the insights, that insight is what is going to lead you to have a profitable business or whatever product or service you're delivering. I remember during the pandemic, I mean, as you know, for us ABL, most of our business is in bar. So the format of the product, of our beer products, is glass bottles, returnable glass bottles. But during the pandemic, we had several insights. Consumer behavior changed. The consumers even went online telling us we want cans. And we had to quickly go into in an innovation mode and start. We had cans for some brands, but not for many. In fact, the one that stuck out for me was the Balozi consumer. Balozi consumers are very loyal consumers. They went on Facebook and made a lot of noise and said, you guys, we need a Balozi can, so that when we're going on our the fourth space, when we're going to gather in other areas, we can easily carry it. And they made noise, and then we launched I think within 6 weeks, we quickly went back and launched the Balozi can and launched the campaign, yes, we can. And then we posted it online and they were like, thank you. I mean, they drove the conversation for us. It's like they were doing the marketing campaign for us, the Balozi consumers. So again, using data and insights to solve a business problem is, I think, the attitude we all need to take now and even beyond. So thank you so much for having me, Ian. I've really enjoyed. I've learned a lot from everybody, from Rose, Savaro, Jonas, Nanjero. I think a really great learning experience.
Thanks so much, Kabiru. Thanks so much for your time. I know we wish to have gone on with you until the end, but 30 more minutes. I'm hopefully going to link up to another webinar or another event. So thanks so much, Kabiru. Asante sana. Maybe Nanjero, I can just kick up. There's something that Waidera was just mentioning in terms of how exactly the process in which they come up with new products. And one of the ways that she highlighted on is in terms of consumer feedback. And she mentioned the example of Balozi in her, what's it called, in her remarks. I don't know, for you, what's it called, being the manager at Soul Generation, what's the process like in terms of innovating? How exactly do you come up with new products? What exactly informs that?
All right, yeah. Thanks, Ian. So for us, innovation is a word we use to translate a problem-solving approach. So what problem are you solving? What pain point are you solving? And in the creative industry, it's not as different as corporate. It's exactly that. So on the music side of things, because what we always want to do is to write soundtracks to people's lives. So what does this mean? Any piece of music or content that we put out there, we either speak to someone at whatever stage of life they're in. Whether they're in a happy place, whether they're in a place where they need uplifting, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a funeral, whether you're on your way to a job application, whatever it is. And we've been very deliberate about that. So in terms of innovating in that space, our songwriting culture is very proactive in identifying what are people going through in whatever season they are in their lives. And our artists Nviri and Benso, if you listen keenly to the lyrics that they put out there, it is really up to date to what is happening and what is happening to people's lives. Because we want, when that song is put on play, it will either make you feel good about yourself, it will help you improve your life, it will talk about a social issue like Nairobi, or it will give you a message that will help you look into the future. And it really resonates to what Rose said earlier. Are you feeling a void in someone's life? And when she said that, I asked myself, was she in our boardroom yesterday? Because that's a question that we ask ourselves every day. How are we improving people's lives? How is this content? Yeah. When Savara writes a line, yeah, when Savara writes a line, or when Bensol writes a line, is that line speaking to someone? Is it gonna challenge them to be better? The second bit about it on innovation on the non-music products that we put out there is, one, as a team, we work together to ideate. So innovation is another thing that I also tell people. It's a big word that you can get lost in buzzwords and stuff like that. But yes. Innovation, innovation is simply having your team of people, 10 people sitting in a room and ideating. So for example, like I'll take you guys through the process of Peso. We wanted to launch a product that would enhance our position in influencing East African street culture. So with music, we're doing that already. So what was the next logical step? Was to come up with a product that people can use to listen to our music. And that was Peso. Then we asked ourselves, and this is the typical innovation ideation design that we used. We then asked ourselves, within the space of how do people listen to music, then you list down all the ways: through radio, through big speakers, through earpods, through earphones. Then we then asked ourselves, what are we associated with? Then we answered, we're associated with activewear, so going to the gym, and also streetwear, so being outside. So then we said we have to come up with a product that cross-cuts between streetwear and activewear. And that's where, and I think, Rose, we need to get you pesos. And that's where...
I'll label that.
And that's where then we came up with the concept of having this product where someone can actively use it while working out, actively use it in their day-to-day work, whether it's business calls, whether it's coming up with a creative concept and just having them in your ears, but also they can look good on you when you're out in the streets. And that's how the design and the prototype of Peso came. And then beyond that, Ian, just in closing, we asked ourselves, now that we have the great product, how do we market it? And the people in that room came up with great ideas on how we marketed it. And so for me, in closing, Ian, is innovation is not something you need to overthink. You have a great team, sit down, look at the product you want to put out, answer the critical questions, do a prototype, run that prototype through some of your fans, because we actually did that, get feedback and create and move.
Interesting. I'm just checking here some of the feedback. There's a gentleman called Wayne Wafula, my colleague, is saying very useful insights from the panel. No one has ridden the COVID-19 disruption like players in the creative space. Sheer gift. So kudos to everybody here. This Karen Warimu is saying that this is true. Songs are getting shorter and shorter, to what exactly Savara was alluding on earlier on. There's Patience Adikini saying, wow, thank you. Soul Generation in the building, and then a smiley. Maybe I can go to you, Rose. In terms of the process of innovation, because considering you're in the creative industry, you're a makeup artist, and it has been disrupted. How exactly did you go about it in terms of coming up with new products and new ways of making money? What was your process like? Because, COVID got all of us in a sudden manner. Our minds, many of the people were frozen. How did you go about it to ensure that you are afloat?
It was really tough. And then, when COVID hit, everyone was, it was new for everyone. We didn't know if we were all going to die. That's number one. It was a scary time, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, yeah. But okay, for me, I won't lie to you. The first couple of weeks for a little bit, I was trying to get my balance back because I was number one very scared because I have nine staff. But then I started pushing myself and I was like, as long as I'm here, I'm going to work hard, not for myself, for my staff. My family needs me, especially when you're in business and you're going through a rough patch. When you think about your family, everything changes. I don't know if it's a mother thing or maybe it's a woman thing. So for me, it was just actually like immediately, like I don't know, around the end of March, I became so motivated. I don't know why, because I was like, okay, I love challenges. I work better under pressure. So for me, this was pressure. So I worked really hard on my makeup stuff, and then I was trying to come up with different products, different ways of making money, because I knew the makeup training part was going to be hit or was going to be down for a long time. So for me, I think just staying motivated and then always remembering where I've come from. I was like, okay, this is bad, but it's not as bad as where I've come from. And as long as I'm alive, I know I can do it. And then I knew I had people under me who are looking up to me. So I just had to do it. So in terms of the products, the Rubiella products, everything became tough because things were almost like double the price. Like the skincare, the manufacturer, almost doubled the price. The shipping became hell, like hell on earth. I remember when products got to the airport, they were there for about a month because they wanted a lot of money. They wanted money that was actually a little bit more than I had manufactured the products for. So that was one of the biggest challenge. But you just have to keep moving on. You just have to keep being positive. The worst thing that you can do is kuweka mkia katikati ya miguu. That's the worst thing you can do. You need to keep going, and at the end of the day, be positive. And again, I'll keep talking about the young people. Young people, especially young women, give up too fast. Once you're faced with a challenge, like for me, I love challenges. So I'm not a fan of Corona, but I love challenges. Once you're faced with a challenge, you have to figure out a way out. And whenever you have an issue, even let's say, for example, if you don't have rent, you have to find a solution. Sit down, weigh your options, see how you can do it instead of trying being suicidal and all that. I have two friends. I lost two friends through suicide recently. It's really sad. And then you wonder like what they were thinking and all that. But everyone thinks different. People react differently to situations. But one thing I can tell young people is it's not all hope is not lost. If you need someone to talk to someone. And every young person, especially people that are starting up in business or people that are struggling, you need a mentor. And a mentor is someone who's been there, done that, knows the ropes. Mentors have been there, they've gone through the challenges. Please find someone that you can talk to when your business hits a rough patch, because you don't want to start, you know, kuanza kununua kamba huko kwenda kujihang. Please never resort to that.
Like, thanks so much, Rose. Maybe Savara, I know you're supposed to go to back to the kitchen, literally. um, just a final question. I know there's what's it called? You cannot, what's it called, separate government and business. They're all intertwined, and most of the creative industry. And I know there's so much what's it called? There's an essence of frustration considering that everything that's happening down, but I know everything's for the good. Maybe just as a closing remark on your end, just let me know some of the frustrations that you hold in terms of the policies are existent into place in terms of the creative industry by the government. Maybe you can just let me know some of your thoughts, and maybe you can give us your closing remark. You're on mute.
Mm, thank you so much for this chance. I actually appreciate you guys. Uh, this has been like an eye opening. So nawashukuru sana kwa kuniallow kuwa katika panel hii. Uh, in terms of policy, I feel it's been on and on and on, and this is information that's out there. Frustration in collecting societies, things like those, taxation, things like just amortization in terms of how the kind of policies the government has put, So I feel like we are at a place where art should be respected. And people should understand the importance of art. So when you hear people like, I would like just to put out some sentiments in terms of there's very art is super important in communication of stuff, communication of a lot of the future. Artists are the gap between what's happening now and the future. Artists are very important in a way that they communicate things that if people internalize in a very, very, very good way, it changes a whole generation. And there should be more focus on how art is being expressed. For example, things like gengeto, it is very easy for our moralists to pin down art and put down something like gengeton. Yet, we are the same people who will sit down and look at Nicki Minaj's videos and Beyonce's videos when people are dancing half naked. You kill creativity by moralizing art, you know? So if the government approaches art also from a moralist point of view, you'll find creativity will be killed. And when creativity is killed, there's less transition, there's less tranquility, there's less expression, and there's more oppression, you know? So I feel like the government should just look at ways in which creativity can be explored and put in a better way. Because now with the internet, you cannot politicize what is right and what is wrong. So our moralists we should check ourselves and try and put more and empower more for our youth to be able to express their art. Art will change a whole generation. So thank you so much for this, and thank you for the parting shots. Rose, umenifurahisha sana. Thank you, Nanjero. Thank you, everybody out there who's listening, and asanteni sana for your positivity, and the fans have been great. Mwah! Nawapenda sana. My name is Savara of Sauti Sol. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Vara. We're looking forward to the new album.
Yeah. Inakuja. Hata niende nitengeneze kwa jikoni. Asanteni.
Hakuna shida, sawa sawa. Thank you so
Sawa, sawa.
maybe I can go to you, Jonas, and because you're operating in a very interesting environment because you're dealing with a lot of investments across different countries. Just give us an overall perspective in terms of Kenya in comparison to other countries. What do you think in terms of investment and some of the policies that have been put into place by different governments? How does Kenya fare in compared to is it easier investing in Kenya as compared to other countries? How do we fare?
I mean, I guess this is not my opinion, but if you look at the different kind of service that's been done as part of investing in Kenya or separately, Kenya is doing well. It's in the top in Africa, at least I would say top 3, competing with maybe South Africa, Egypt, maybe Nigeria. But what you can see is there's certain areas where Kenya is like really strong, like people. Like all Kenyans have like ideas, entrepreneurship, spirit, and all that. But then maybe regulation is a little bit behind, or ease of doing business or taxation, or so I'd say, relatively yes, doing well, but could do a lot better. The way I'm looking at it, yeah. And even for us, like to be honest, we're building one of the things we're doing is we're building an investment platform, a crowdfunding platform to enable the African diaspora and the Kenyan diaspora to invest in Kenyan businesses, right? So last year there was 3.1 billion US dollars coming through from the Kenyan diaspora to Kenya, and this is just official numbers. So if you know the unofficial, it's much higher. So then, but if you want to be a Kenyan entity, a business, and you want to enable people from all over the world to invest in your business, you need to go through a regulatory headache. So obviously, this kind of becomes a crippling effect, right, for some businesses, because here's good money, it can fuel your visions, your plans, your roadmap, but you can't access it because, utilizing these kind of platforms will then be a crime for you because, the regulatory framework is not keeping up with that kind of changes. So, and then you have the digital tax and all of that stuff. I mean, politicians are trying to, as a government, they're trying to also, it's a business too, right? So they're also trying to create new revenue streams, and they're saying that, in Kenya, if 12% of your economy is coming from the digital space, then obviously, you know, they're thinking, how do we get our chunk of that, you know, as part of nation building. But you know, I think it will not stop. To be honest, Ian, it will definitely not stop. They will continue coming with it. I think the
Interesting. And
best, yeah.
maybe just, I can just ask you this. Which particular country that you have indulged business in that you rate highly? Maybe some of the things you've actually seen that you think the Kenyan government can get to implement in terms of some of the policies that have been put into place for investors.
Man, there's many countries that I think have like good. If you look in Africa, the one that has the leading kind of infrastructure is Mauritius, and the only reason is they have most trade agreements with African countries. Do you know what I mean? Like it's easier to send money from Mauritius to like Tanzania than Kenya than it is from you sending in Kenya to Tanzania, even though Tanzania is a neighboring country. So the rules are a little bit different. Yes. Um, Internationally, I honestly I'm a big fan of Estonia. Basically, what they've done is they digitalize the whole government. You do digital voting. You get your taxes. It's a fast. It's a set level. You pay everything online. You see all your grades online, all hospital, your journals, everything. They digitalize that stuff. In 2008, they built it on blockchain technology. Yeah, they were that early as a government. And the only reason is because Estonia is tiny. It's only 1 million people, right? So it's like, but the leadership, brother, the leadership is young and they run that country like a startup. No jokes. So they digitalized the whole thing. Now you can even be a digital, an e-resident of Estonia. You can literally go online and become a e-resident of Estonia. I can go, being in Kenya, and register an Estonian company and get Estonian bank account. So suddenly I have a European entity because these guys have developed this cool technology that enables this kind of, you know, liberties. Imagine if African countries were doing this. That would be amazing, huh?
But sometimes it feels like it's only just in an imagination. For now, we can think we can just remain imagining. But Nigeria, I can just get to you because I know music is never really quite perceived by investors as a feasible investment. I don't know if, as a sole generation, you've tried seeking external investment, and if you have, how exactly has the experience been? What exactly has it been in terms of probably trying to look for investors and trying to put into place more money into the business?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Ian, for asking this question when Savara is not here. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you're quite right, Ian, especially in this side of the world. And just what we have seen is because creative and music is not seen as your conventional career path. And typically, when just to cycle back, if you're a 18-year-old young girl, young boy with a lot of ambition, if you go to your parents and say, I want to be a beat maker, or I want to be a vocalist, or I want to be a TikTok star, I think you'll be kicked out of the house. The tide is slowly shifting, but these are not career paths that have been defined here. And so with that, businesses that have been built to sort of like exploit the opportunity, it's not a beautiful business that investors have been looking at. We have introspected on that because we have approached very many people, by the way, to look for funding. And the reason why we've done this is because we've realized we have self-funded our business, and based on the self-funding, we have been able to realize a system that works. So right now, if from any of my directors, myself, if you ask me what our business model is, we have articulated it very well, and we know the foundations, and we know the elements of the business and how we will scale it. So the point at which selling that vision and that dream to an investor is where the challenge has been, because for this particular market, there has not been any data or anyone who's done it before, or any benchmark that people can use to look at. But there are two things that are helping shift the tide, though. The first one is our industry is becoming global. So one of the things that we have done and we continue to do is to create a story of how our business is global. So if I go to an investor, if I go to an accelerator, if I show him our numbers, suddenly I'm not showing him our numbers based on the Kenyan market. I'm suddenly showing him that my product is being consumed in Russia, my product is being consumed in the UK, is being consumed in the Americas, is being consumed in Australia. When I'm showing him beyond the streaming, when I'm showing him the gigs that we're doing, I'm showing him gigs that I've done in Kenya, in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Rwanda. I'm showing him gigs that I've done in South Africa. I'm showing him gigs that I've done in Australia. The next thing that I'm showing him is our music and how it's relating to people outside of Kenya. And suddenly, from that point of view, I am showing presence globally, and that is something that can be attractive to someone who wants to invest in our business. The other important element that we have done to try and appeal to investors or accelerators is we have shown that we have a core product and a core product that works. And then we have developed a problem statement. And a problem statement right now is actually scale. Our problem statement is scale. So every time we remove a product, there's a semblance of appreciation, and it's being and people are using and interacting with this product. So my problem statement right now, and Savara spoke about it, he just spoke about it at a high level. How can I be able to produce and release 100 songs a month? And for me, it's not the people, the systems, the processes, it's actually the funding. Because we have the structure to do 30 right now. So how then can we take this same structure and get the funding and take it to 100, and then have that domino effect that will help, that will put in the infrastructure that then will help other talented Kenyans, other talented East Africans to jump onto this infrastructure that we've built, and then continuously take this Kenyan identity and sound to the world. So what I'd say to this regard, Ian, is still there's a lot of convincing, but we have what it takes. Like, to, if an investor comes to me and I want his money, I have a story to tell him, and I think it's much easier for me to attract funding than it was 2 years ago.
Interesting. So in short, you can literally sing your way into the deal.
Yeah, man. Ian, seriously, like, Diamond closed, Diamond and Wasafi closed a 5 million distribution deal. Diamond is Tanzanian. Why can't a Kenyan company, why can't Jonas give Soul Generation $5 million? That's the thing.
Yeah. So it means there's a lot of opportunities to be exploited. My goodness, I'm sure time has just literally flown by it. We just have like 10 more minutes remaining. But maybe just, Rose, maybe just in brief, one of the things that you've mentioned, Rose, is that you've never, what's it called, sought out investment. You've always seeked to be self-funding. Why exactly? Why is that?
So number one, I try to stay away from debt. Then you see poor, then it's what you know, like if I don't have loans and someone comes and landlord akuja nifungie makeup by Rose, I'll still sleep in peace. But you know, when you have investors are not bad, but for me, they are not for me. Investors are not bad, but investor will be on your neck, and I've seen people losing their businesses through investors. So I think depends on the person. So for me, I like my peace of mind. I like running my own business myself. I don't want someone to come on board my business and then take over, and I've been running it for the past 13 years. So for me, that's the deal. Though investors are not bad. You know my sister, Penina, Queen's Pizza. Queen's Pizza came to life because of an investor. Yeah. So I will not say investors are bad. So, but they are not for me. So for me, I think it's because of like where I've come from. Because nilikuwa nimezoea kuwekewa kifuli na landlord so many times mpaka nikachoka. So sahii sitaki stress, sitaki stress. Ka sina do. You understand? Kama ile kidogo niko nayo, I find my way around my business and my home and everything. So mimi stories are stress. It's all about peace of mind. and me being able to, grow my baby myself.
Interesting. My goodness.
Yeah.
Jonas, at this particular juncture, I'd like to just get your closing remark in terms of your overall picture, or rather overall perspective of the creative economy in Kenya. What exactly some of your closing remarks?
No, I think the opportunities are huge. I don't understand why Nigeria is kind of taking the position and Kenya is making it so easy. I feel like East Africa is behind. I feel like West Africa is dominating the creative space, and yeah, we need to get more, I guess, aggressive entrepreneurs and concepts within the creative space with higher ambitions, and also to activate more investors. I mean, clearly both are needed. But yeah, we need to invest more in the creative space. No doubt about it. No doubt. That's as easy as that. I don't think it's a
Interesting. So
discussion.
we need more of Jonases around.
No, no, you just need more
We
like
need more of Jonases around.
you need both from an investor perspective, but also concepts, because I don't meet very many ambitious creatives around. You know, I feel like when you meet Nigerians, they want to take over the world. When you meet Kenyans, they maybe want to be biggest in Kenya. So yeah, that's my thought.
Ah, interesting. So Kenyans need to think globally, in short.
Yeah, at least Pan African. But yeah, it'd be great if they think globally. I think that because it is a global
Interesting.
market, like Nigeria was saying, it is clearly. Specifically in the world of streams and YouTube. YouTube is not Kenya, right? It's a world. So
Yes. Thanks so much, Jonas. Nanjera, maybe I can just get your closing remarks in terms of the conversation we've been having around the creative economy. What exactly are some of your closing remarks on this?
Yeah. Thanks, Ian. First one, I'd like to say, especially for creatives, and I always tell them this: execution is strategy for breakfast. All of those big ideas you have, they will just remain in your wardrobe, in your bank, if you're not executing. And I think simplicity here is key. Take your big creative idea, how you want to go about and influence everyone, change the world, but have a very simple executionable model. Ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do tomorrow morning to ensure that my product is going out into the market? And just build a model where your big goal, your big vision is fine, but enable your executing. Very important. Um, the second thing I'd like to say is that scale is critical. Whether we like it or not, scale is what defines, actually is what differentiates between myself and Ian. If Ian, you can crack the scale code, that's everything. And for us, that's critically important. And that is what is our path for the next 2 years. We are on a journey of scale, and we're going to scale. Whatever you've been seeing from Sautisol, Bensol, and Viri over the last 15 years, we are not going to be stuck in that rut. Now we are on a mission to scale. So execution is strategy for breakfast. Break your whatever you're doing into small executionable pieces. By the hour even, what are you going to do now? What am I going to do when I leave this call? And execute on it. And then secondly, think scale always. Is my song going to be listened to in the Bahamas? And what do I need to do for it to be listened to in the Bahamas? And just a word of encouragement to all the creatives out there. The world is your playground. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up. There's no instant gratification. Put in the hours, and you can short circuit the 30 years that we have gone through, and you can make it, man. Thanks, all of you. Rose, you're such an inspiration. Jonas, man, I'm so glad we are aligned on so many things, and I look forward to us talking further. Ian, thank you for putting all this together. Moidera, who's not here, Savara, let's change the world and let's create a platform where we're inspiring guys.
All right. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to the end of the session. I know it's been quite interesting. This time was literally going so fast. That's how 2 hours usually flies. So a big thank you to all of you. Thanks so much, Jonas. Thanks so much, Nanjera, Savara, Rose, Desagu in absentia. You're supposed to join in. I think he had some car issues, so he couldn't be able to join in. But I appreciate all of you. Everybody who has made this happen. I've been seeing lots of you guys online. So thank you for your feedback. your questions, the IT team for making it possible, the commercial team for making it possible. So I highly, highly appreciate. Thank you guys for making this possible. So we should be doing this another time. So Nigeria, we're going to get some pesos from you.
Support
So
Kenyan
thanks so much,
businesses.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'll send an invoice. Support Kenyan businesses. I'll send an invoice to
Yes,
each one of you.
yes, definitely. Thanks so much, Jonas. Thanks so much, Rose. Safe travel. I know you're on the way, but thanks so much for having me, Tim. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's a wrap.
Yes.